about The Disappearing Man. If you haven't watched it yet, I'll link it in the description. One of the theories suggested was interdimensional travel, a suggestion that there are many different parallel dimensions running simultaneously, called the multiverse, and choices in our lives can determine which reality we exist in. There have been some very prominent cases of this, where seemingly regular people awake to find themselves in an altered reality than the one they remember. But there are more subtle changes to this multiverse all the time, but we just don't notice. Just like the earth turning, we don't notice these small differences. These alterations can be felt by multiple people or just one, and it's called the Mandela Effect. It got its name because when Nelson Mandela died in 2013, a phenomenal amount of people recall him dying back in the 80s or 90s, to the point where they have shared memories from all over the world of facts about his funeral. I myself do not remember him dying, but I have had my own Mandela effect recently, which led me down this rabbit hole. So a few months ago I was watching a documentary about the Troubles in Northern Ireland, and they mentioned the historic Good Friday Agreement, which was a life-changing event for those who live here. I remember it very well. I remember the house I was living in, I remember watching it and talking about it with my mum, and I remember that I was heavily pregnant with my first child. I couldn't believe that they got the date wrong on TV, citing it as happening in 2008. Fast forward to this week, I happen upon another mention of the Good Friday Agreement, and again they say 2008. I'm like, nope, this isn't right. So after a Google search this time round, I discover it was in fact 2008, not 2004, the time I remember. Does anyone else share this Mandela effect with me? It's not like maybe I have this vague memory. No, this is a clear, strong memory of which I feel certain. Also to note, I'm pretty good at remembering dates and places of events. I also have a memory from my childhood, and maybe one of my friends from Kells can help me out with this one. It's from an old cinema that used to be there when I was growing up. I remember going to see a movie. It was a good movie, but I also remember it being a little creepy, which would be very strange because my super overprotective mother would never let me watch anything like that. It was about a phoenix in a theatre, and in the end he dies in a fire, but you can see him rising from the flames. My memory is so clear I can actually remember crying over it. Over the years I've searched for that movie, as I now have a son called Phoenix, but I have never been able to find such a movie from that period, the late 70s or early 80s. There was a TV show about a phoenix, but this was definitely a movie in a cinema, not a TV show, and the plot or characters of the TV show doesn't match up with my memories. I find several other examples of this happening to people. The most documented are the collective ones. There is a movie called Shazam, a comedy about a genie, and literally thousands of people remember this movie. The plot, the artwork, the cast, all the same memory from people who do not know each other. But you've probably guessed, this movie never existed. At least not in our current dimension anyway. Another creepier example is a TV show called Cove, mainly remembered by those who were kids at the same time. Some loved it, some were scared, as the show was quite dark with a demonic looking creature telling horror stories. When these kids, who are now adults, many of their parents recall their kids, often sitting in front of the TV watching white noise, but have no recollection of Cove. Since then, someone has gone on to make a show of that name due to the popularity of this urban legend, but it definitely did not exist at the time of these people's childhood. There are thousands of examples. Some are well known, but another lesser known one I liked was the mystery of Agatha Christie. She went missing during her lifetime but was found after 10 days. Hundreds of people remember and have even wrote about the fact that she had never been found, and considering that she was a writer about mysteries, considered it a fascinating end. Another interesting one that research was carried out on is that of a train station in Italy which was destroyed with a bomb in 1980. After it was rebuilt, the clock remained at 10:25 a.m. the time the bomb exploded. People noticed it as they wondered whether the clock had actually stopped at that time or had been deliberately stopped at that time as a memorial of sorts. But it turns out that the clock was repaired fairly quickly, and for the next 15 years operated normally. Yet investigators found that a whopping 79% of people, including 21 employees, remember that it was stuck at that time since the attack. Here is a dashcam video that someone captured that they claim is proof of moving through dimensions. Notice how the two cars simply vanish? Is this real or clever editing? Despite searching, I have been unable to find many documented cases here in the UK or Ireland. So are we less prone to it? Is it more likely that you will be sucked into another multiverse based on your location? I did find one example that I could relate to, which is a chocolate bar with a blue wrapper on it, called Blue Ribbon. Does anyone remember it? Well, apparently it was never called Blue Ribbon. It was always Blue Riband. And I'm afraid that didn't resonate with me at all. Have you been a victim of the Mandela Effect? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, please give us a like or a share. We'll be back here at the virtual fireside at the same time next week.